When playing Fallout 4, you are given a number of ways to enjoy the game as you wander the Commonwealth. You can make a heavy guns build and mow down raiders' scum with miniguns and miniature nukes. You can be silent like the Knight and take out opponents with silenced pistols and combat knives. Or, you could even make a character that specializes in explosives such as grenades or mines. However you play, it's no secret that the game offers a plentiful selection of opportunities for the player to choose from. Hey guys, it's Michael here. And if this seems a bit familiar to you, then you would be correct. This video is somewhat of a dedicated homage to the epic Nate 315, who has finally given signs of his return to us from his long slumber and will soon be gracing us again with his glorious content. So in doing so, I would ask that you all sit back and relax as we find out exactly what it is that you can do that can be taken to the next level in Fallout 4. The game itself doesn't really impose many restrictions onto the player character on what they can and cannot do. You can launch nukes off your shoulder with a catapult, you can jump off a building in power armor and explode while dealing damage to those around you while doing so, and you can put explosives into people's pockets and watch them explode. So naturally it must be asked, what exactly can you get away with in the game? While working on a settlement, I happened to come across the pitching machine, which is part of the contraptions workshop, and never having used one before, I decided to give it a shot. Now for anyone that doesn't know how the pitching machine works, by loading 3 units of power into it, you could have it set up to launch small items such as pistols, baseballs of course, or knives. However, it can also be used to launch mines and grenades in their active mode. So if you need an example, if you loaded like a normal frag grenade into it, it will launch in pretty quick succession those grenades whichever way it's facing, preferably towards an enemy. So what can we possibly do with this, you ask? Well, after spending a day or two thinking about how I can abuse this, I came up with arguably the best and also worst defense possible. Anyone who has ever spent time near the piers should be familiar with the quest, and just like that, you should already know what it is that I have done. If not, allow me to catch you up. Upon exploring by the Shamrock Tap House, if you head to the piers back behind it, you will see a little boy watching something sticking out of the water. Talking to him will reveal that he thinks it's a monster that's quite possibly hungry, which ends up giving you the quest. However, if you swim out to the stalk poking out of the water, you'll actually find that it's a periscope from an old pre-war submarine named the Yangtze, and I'm gonna apologize really quickly if I pronounce it wrong. Going into the sub, you'll find Captain Zhao, a Chinese ghoul walking around. He will not be hostile, and after talking with him and not murdering him to death, he will send you out to go find parts so he can fix his sub, so that way he may return home to China to rebuild his civilization. Once you complete his questline, he will reward you with 3 homing beacons, which, when thrown or reverse pickpocketed, will bring down a tactical nuke with not so well but still kinda good enough accuracy. Now here's where mods come into effect. Because you can only get 3 homing beacons in any one playthrough, your ability to use them for defense of a settlement is quite limited and could very well miss the target. However, with the terminal cheat mod for Xbox Master Race, you can simply give yourself as many as you want and they will still work. Now comes the fun part, loading them into the pitching machine. When reading up about the homing beacons, it says that they cannot be thrown very quickly because only 1 tactical nuke can be spawned at a time. So what I did was put up a few pitching machines, loaded them with about 100 beacons each, and lit them up with power. And the result is what sparked this entire video and compelled me to do more with this amazing discovery. And by the way, the webpage saying that only 1 can be active at a time is a complete farce. I have had many of these things smacking me in the head, nearly killing me by the way, so trust me when I say, use these very sparingly. With all that out of the way, how badly can we abuse the game? Let's find out using nothing but pitching machines and some creative liberties. Like I said, this is by and far the best thing I've seen, and I cannot express how fun this was. While not effective due to the limited range the homing beacons have, you can still set these up to be a formidable line of defense if you're good with power lines and power management. Here's an example of what you might expect to see if you were to run with this method. As you can no doubt see, these things are wild, and for large areas like Sanctuary or Spectacle Island, you would definitely be able to hold it down with a fist made out of uranium-238. That is, of course, if you're okay with putting your settlers in danger as well, because of the aforementioned not so great accuracy, or the modding your game and removing the mere restriction of 3-homing beacon spit. Like with the tactical nukes, synth relay grenades can be used to spawn in, well, synths, duh. Now, how they feel about you when spawning in is a matter of perspective really, because for me they were not my friends, and thus my settlement had to fight off about 2,619 of these things because I forgot to unload the grenades from the pitchers, and my game was not happy about this. I don't think I can stress enough how important it is for the synths to be your allies, because if not, you're going to have a lot of enemies to fight and run the risk of your settlers getting killed, and it's going to be a bad time. On the upside though, if you only have 2 pitching machines using these as your main defense, 4 or 5 grenades each is enough to spawn like 20 synths to aid you in combat to defend your settlement from quite literally any invading force. Now, Molotovs are not something I have much experience with. Heck, I've not even used many before now, so I was actually quite surprised at the range these can get thrown. My first couple of tries with this, I had a lot of trouble setting up to hit an adequate range and even more trouble getting some to go off. However, once those hurdles were passed, this becomes a complete and total nightmare for any who dare to stand before it. This is basically just making a giant field of fire for your enemies to walk through, scorching the land around your base, ensuring that all who attempt to cross will burn to ash and die a fool's death in what will soon be a barren wasteland of death and charred bones. How exactly this can be used as a viable base defense, I don't even really know, but it looks like something from a very scaled down micro version of what you would see from a Warhammer game, where they purge the filthy heretics and Xenos with the holy flame in the name of the God Emperor of Man.
Attention, enemies of mankind. Your deaths will come to you swiftly. Our warriors stand nearly invincible, and will strike with furious resolve. Your filth will be cleansed from this planet in the holy fires of wrath. You have no hope and nowheres to hide. We will bombard your holes to ruin, your fortifications to dust, your bodies to ash. Our holy fire will rain upon you day by day and will not cease until your demise. You will die one way or another, as our soldiers melt your pathetic weapons to scrap and your lands to glass. Our cause is just, and we are prepared to fight for days, years, to see you destroyed. Our tenacity will outmatch you with every step. You have no chance of victory, and by our holy fire, be cleansed and return to dust and ash.
Now, is it a good defense? I really don't know, to be honest, and I do doubt the legitimacy of such a defense if you intend to buy the Molotovs in bulk, or if you plan to manufacture your own considering the resources needed to make them. But with the cheat terminal mod and some time and patience, it's definitely one that I think looks cool to watch ravage the land around you, but dangerous enough to all of your mortal foes that it'll make even the most rabid of Deathclaws think twice. This is what I've been waiting for. The one, the only, nuke mines. These things will mess you up and any foe that you decide doesn't even need to exist any longer. They are not so easily found around the world, and they pack a huge punch, and best of all, they sound so good. It's like heavenly music to my heavily irradiated ears. Now, here's the downside to these mines. They are very fickle and explode very easily. While trying to capture just some footage for this video, they kept exploding and making my game have a stroke, which, don't get me wrong, that is great. That's exactly what I want. It just gets agitating when it happens constantly while you're trying to get footage of them just sitting there. But I did manage to find a way around it, and it does almost always make my game crash, which is exactly what I was hoping for, seeing as how I have control of making my game crash this time around. And I want to dedicate this next little bit to just watching the nuke mines do their thing before detonation, and do not worry, I will put a sound warning up before they go off on their heavenly warpath.
Brothers of the Imperium, a volumetric pressure wave of immense capacity is soon to assault your receptors, causing irreparable damage. This is your one and only warning to take the appropriate measures to minimize the damage.
Now, are nuke mines good for base defense? Well, yeah, sure, if you want everyone to suffer in pitiful agony, but resource-wise, I really don't think so. But no matter how you split it, these things are definitely a fine piece to add to your base defending collection and a great way to make Fallout 4 cry. But anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I was planning on doing a shout out to a random commenter, but I figured it'd be best to dedicate this one to the man, the myth, the legend that is, the Epic Nate 315. If you do know who he is, then please share some love for him in the comment section below. And if you don't know who he is, don't worry, a link to his channel will be posted in the description below. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you— What? Who are you?
The God Emperor demands that if you enjoyed this video that you give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as turning on any notifications to get alerted when this channel uploads even more of its mediocre content.
Yeah, do what that guy says, I guess. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video.